Okay, so I thought what I would do here is I would just show you if I were running an event, how I might treat my students coming in. So initially when your event is not running until about 15 minutes before, these are going to be sealed. And so you'll come to it and you'll kind of bounce off. About 15 minutes before, I'll unseal them and hopefully you'll be in here. So this is your room. And what I would suggest between you and your partner or your alumni helper, or the alumni might be the event leader and your old leaders, whoever you happen to be, I would suggest that you have one person stationed around this area, around the door. And as they come in, we're going to direct them all to the classroom. Okay, so direct them to the classroom. You can talk to them when they come in, or there could also be a sign here saying go to the class and an arrow pointed to the right. And so they go to the classroom. You'll see the name of your event. And as you go to the classroom, when you walk in here, as soon as you get to the spot, you'll notice on the bottom left-hand side of my screen, this YouTube video popped up. So you have the option on your event to have a video and that we can embed. And if you have a video that you want to embed, so with one, Mr. Martins is doing Hidden Gems. He's going to have a video that's going to talk about some of the scientists who have not had an opportunity to get recognition for what they've done. And so that will give some gravitas and talk about the significance of the event. Or it might be something like the CSI group. They have a really good kind of, I don't know, these characters that have done something evil, and one of them is more evil than the rest, I guess, because they murdered somebody, and the rest of them are actually not evil because they're good creatures. And so they're going to watch the video to get their heads in the right mindset of the event. So if you have a video you want to create or something that's online for 30 seconds, then let me know and we'll insert the link into the projector. But anyway, as the students come in, get them all to sit on these chairs here. And once they sit on these chairs, you go over to this speak out. So this spotlight, what it will do is it will broadcast the entire room. Every single student will hear you. You'll be able to see them, you'll not be able to hear them, but they'll be able to see you and hear you. So give them all the initial instructions of your event, tell them what the expectations are, what the behavior expectations are, and whatever they need to run the event. When you're done giving instructions, then tell them all to go to their private spaces. That's what they're called. So we're all going to walk off, we'll walk in this direction. And group 1 will go on to mat 1. Group 2 will go on to mat 2. They have names, so but even though they have names, they should know what group number they belong to, right? So if they belong to group 2, they do not go on to this one. So these things here, they're quiet spaces, private spaces. And in the private space, how it works is if you're in the private space, then only other individuals in the private space can talk to you and can hear you, and you can only see them. So that means if I'm in group 1, I cannot hear what's going on in group 2 or 3 or 4. So this is their quiet area, their private space. Now for some of you, you asked for a link that's a Google Doc or a Google presentation or a Kahoot or something, and that will be in this book. So there'll be a book here, and you will click on it by hitting the X. I'm not actually in the right room for a book that can be activated like that, but you can. Also, these rooms have whiteboards. So if you want to play with the whiteboard, you can hit X, and depending on the event, it might be fun to play with. They might doodle on it. Anybody's in that space will share that whiteboard, share that space. So while they're there, as the event leader, you'll be up here at the front on here. So as long as you're staying on that space, everybody in the room can hear you. So even though they're in their quiet, their private space, they can hear you because this overrides all the other associations. If you have an event where a student must leave their private area to come to talk to you because they have to give you a clue or something like that, it's possible that a student who's in group 1 might get upset because they have to go further than the person who's in group 8. So if that were to happen, that person has the option of standing on one of these circles. So this is the circle for group 8. So this is like being at table 8. They'll see the same screens at the top, and it will allow them to just move 10 steps as opposed to moving 100. I've also put this in here in all the rooms. So it's I figure it's a help desk. So if you have an event where students need to come and get clues or they need help understanding something, then they can walk up to the help desk, come into your private space here, and you can have a conversation with them without anyone else listening, as long as they're not in the private space. And then finally, over here, these are the same as the circles. So if you step on any one of these, they will connect you to that group, and then you can talk to them. As an event leader, if you want to see what's happening and you don't want to walk over to their table, you can also step on these circles and be a part of their experience as well. All right, so that's how I would walk the students in. Go to the classroom first, talk to them using the spotlight, play a video. Well, you tell them, if it's a 1.5-minute video, tell them to play the video. So they'll click play. And then if it's a 1.5-minute, tell them in 2 minutes you'll start talking again, so you can time it. And then when that's done, give them any other instructions you need, send them over to these private spaces. You go on to the spotlight over here, run your event, collect your information from the Google Docs. If necessary, you'll have that open on your computer on some other screen. And then when it's done, send them off. Okay, and when your event is done, I will not seal up the room again. Right? And that's about it. Some of you, I have no one left in here, so I can't display this. But if you have many people in here, you can click on this chat box. And when you click on this chat box, you can select either everyone, which will select all 150 or 200 people inside the environment. You can select nearby. Nearby will talk to anybody whose screen is on whose video is on your screen. And then you can also select an actual person. I can't select an actual person at the moment because nobody else on here on 12:13 a.m. Sunday morning, Saturday night, whatever you want to call this. But if you select them, then you can talk to that person directly as well. So that's an option too. So some of the events, you might record who the designates on your event are. You need to send them information and you select them as from this list. But do recognize there's going to be 150 to 200 names on this list come Tuesday. So sending a message directly to a person might be a bit challenging. All right, so that's it. That's my walkthrough to get an event started.